What I really think about the YZ125X. Hey, what's up guys, Rado here doing an iron, and this is a Yamaha YZ125X that I had on the channel for well over a year. And I have to tell you that this is the bike that changed my perspective on 125 two-stroke bikes, and I fell in love with these bikes, with the engine, with the power, with the power band, with the fun factor, with everything there is about these 125 bikes. It was so much fun, my goodness, so much blast. It was amazing. Like, hey, I was enjoying this 125 a lot. It's been a long time since I had this much fun on the bike, on the track. Didn't expect that I would love it this much, but ever since I took this bike on the track first time and I kept riding it, it just felt right, and I fell in love with this power. That's why I bought my own 125 that is right there behind the camera, and I will be working on that as my next build. But today I want to talk about my honest review, everything that I felt, that I think about this 2020 125X, which is a little bit different than your normal 125. So the major difference would be that the 125 is the motocross bike, and the power band hits really hard and likes to be in high RPM. Now 125X has 18-inch rear wheel, a little bit different suspension setting. It has a kickstand and also a little bit different power. So the power curve actually has more power on the bottom, and then it signs off a little bit earlier, but you get that usable power sooner. So it feels really good on the trails. You can kind of, lug it around on the trails, and also on the track it does put a big smile on your face. It's fun in a low RPM. It has a nice sound and pulls nice. And actually, if you play with the carburetor on the stack Mikuni without touching it, it was a little bit buggy on the trails. But once I put keying on this thing and I play with the jetting, and I try stick, and also I try just the normal keying with the JD, and that ran pretty good too. So if I can suggest, if you have this bike, probably the most economical way to have this bike running really crisp would be to get the carburetor directly from JD Jetting, that they sell keying with their kit already included, which is below $400. That would be your cheapest setup. Throw it in and then play with it a little bit. Maybe you don't even have to, just follow the chart, and the bike will run way better than with a stack Mikuni. And once I have that, the power was fun on the trails. The power was good on the bottom. I could just lug it up the hill, second gear, third gear. I'm gonna share some footage so you can see how the bike runs. Second gear. Third gear. It's pretty good bottom. What do you guys think, huh? 4. I'm gonna call the gears, and I didn't use any clutch. 4. 4, no problem at all. Didn't even bug on me. Still 4. 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 3, no clutch. I thought it would be a small bike because I'm a grown-up guy, 200 pounds, so I thought the 125 probably wouldn't be enough for me on the trails. But to my surprise, it was enough, and man, it just felt like a mountain bike, and it had an engine, so it felt so good on the trails. It really changed the way I see these 125 bikes. On the track, when you keep that thing on a pipe, and it loves to be on a pipe, it's easy to get on a pipe because the bottom pulls a little bit better. You just clutch it a little bit in those turns and get on a pipe. This thing screams and is so much fun. Honestly guys, on this blue bike I had the most fun in my life on a dirt bike. Honestly, it's so much fun. So I really don't want to stop riding 125s, and that's because of this bike. I'm super enthusiastic now, and you can probably see it on me, and it's just because this bike really changed the way I see these 125 engines, and changed my perspective, and I just love how this bike runs. So definitely want to stick with 125 engine, and I'm building my own, as I said. So power is fun, it's good, it pushes you to know how to ride it. Yeah, it doesn't have the same amount of power all the time. You need to be in a power band if you want to be on the track and you want to be clearing all the jumps. You need to think before the turn, you need to clutch it, you need to keep it in the mid of a power. But it makes you a better rider, it teaches you how to keep momentum, it teaches you how to enter the turns in the higher speed. So there is many different good aspects about this power, about the 125 itself. So I would definitely recommend this power. It's really fun. Now, second thing about these bikes that I really have to talk about is the suspension. They come with KYB forks that are probably the best stock forks you can get on the market today, and they came out of the showroom floor. As I said, I'm 200 pounds guy. I hit the track, I hit all the jumps, I rode the trails, and I didn't touch it. I didn't touch the suspension. I just bled the air every time I washed the bike after every track day, and I kept suspension like that, and it worked for me. It was good. It wasn't jumping on the bumps, on the accelerator bumps, and braking bumps. It was also soaking up the big hits. When I cased, sometimes it was okay. Maybe it wasn't the best suspension for the track because this is dialed more for off-road riding, but it was good enough that there is nothing to complain about, at least in my case. Like, I'm not riding a main track, I'm riding wet track, and whatever I hit there was good. So suspension is, I think, is a phenomenal suspension for these bikes out of the showroom floor. Really, I didn't touch it, it just worked for me everywhere, on the trails, on the track. Now when I hit the trails and I was a little bit faster on the little bit rocky terrain, and it also soaked up these little bumps, and when I hit some jumps it did well over there too. I didn't bottom out the suspension, it just worked with the kind of riding I was doing. So suspension, yeah, you guys know you cannot go wrong on the Yamahas. Some people might think that, yeah, because it is X bike, it's meant for the trail riding, and it's kind of true. But looking at the stock YZ that is not X, there is not a huge difference between these two bikes. It's not like this one has different transmission and completely different suspension and different setup and all that. It is a little bit different. It has the same gears, same transmission, maybe a little different gearing. I actually played with the sprocket in the rear to get a little bit longer gears because the bike was pulling strong enough, so I wanted to have a little bit longer gears. So the power actually is not so much different. Yeah, the power curve is a little different. This one pulls more from the bottom. YZ125 pulls a little bit less from the bottom and then hits power band and pulls more on up top. But it is comparable, and also the way bike feels, the suspension, the handling, ergonomics, everything is same. So I think this is a good bike if you want to take it for both track and trails, because it's an off-road race bike. So in these off-road races, you can hit a motocross track no problem. You can hit your wet track, you can hit these step downs and doubles and, you know, tabletops, and you can fly 60-70 feet and land smooth, no problem. Especially if you are the average rider, maybe 150-160 pounds, maybe a little bit younger guy. Well, this bike can eat everything that you throw at it on the track and also on the trails. It really feels at home on the track. I didn't feel like I have some handicap. Normally, if you take the bike that is made fully for the off-road riding and you take it on the track, you can feel that, oh, maybe it's not 100%. But since, as I said, this bike is not so far away from your 125, I feel like it's just right in between the track and trails, and it feels good on both terrains. Now I have to tell you guys that the trail actually surprised me. As I said, I didn't have a lot of expectation, and actually I have to tell you that in the beginning when I took it on the trails with a Mikuni and I was maybe one gear higher and I was going uphill, it was doing the you know, the biking sound, so I have to clutch it all the time to kind of get in a power. And I thought, yeah, that's what 125 will do, because I'm, you know, kind of heavy and the bike is, has small displacement. So I was expecting that, and I was thinking that's normal. But after I played with the carburetor, after I put a keen on it and get good jetting, all that biking on the uphill trails went away. And I could stay in a second and third gear and I could make it uphill and stay in that power. I wasn't nowhere close to the power band. I was somewhere, you know, on the bottom, and then the transition from low RPM to mid RPM to power band and back to mid RPM. It was really effortless and it was smooth, and bike was pulling everywhere. So far no clutch. First. Had to clutch it there a little bit. Second gear. Third. So I had a lot of fun on those trails. I had really good time. And as I mentioned, this thing is super light. Like, it just want to go where you point it. It's like a mountain bike. You can pick your line when you are on a trail. Usually I ride bigger bikes like KTM 300, for example, or maybe even some 4-strokes on those trails. But taking this bike on the trails, I know I was really enjoying it. And I was riding with some big guys on 350s and even on XR650, and I had zero problems keeping up with them. Well, today we are doing something fun. YZ125X on the snow with XR650 and then 350 Dallas's bike. Now I have to tell you one thing. If you get these bikes, if you get any 125, you need to stay on the top of your top ends. These bikes, they make good power if you keep them on a pipe, and you love to keep it on a pipe because it just feels so good. But, you know, keeping it at high RPM all the time, this engine is working hard, and you better keep your top end fresh. Put, I don't know how many, 20, 30, 40 hours on the top end. It's not like KTM 300 that you can go away with 200 hours on the top end. These bikes, they like to have it fresh. So it's not difficult to change it. You know, I had to do a top end on this bike, and I had a top end off the bike. It took me like 1 hour. Actually, it was Sunday morning, and I did it before I went to church with my family. So it really didn't take that much time. I took everything apart, and then we put the piston in, and bike was running great. So if you have these bikes and if you keep it pinned, then stay on the top of your maintenance for the top end, the piston, rings, and all that. And bike will reward you. It will run great all the time, and it will just put smile on your face. As I said, it's just a great package. All right, my friends, well, overall, what an amazing bike. It's time to get it back to Yamaha. And as I said, I had it over a year and I had an amazing time. It worked great everywhere, and I'm really happy that I could spend this much time on this bike. Now I'm super excited because I think in 2023 they will come with 125X that will be completely redesigned, because for 2022 they come with 125 YZ that is completely new. It already comes with King carburetor, it comes with a 3D mapping, and it's all done in engine and everything else is changed. So I think that bike would be amazing, and I hope to get it this year for a review. But the next year I think they will come with the same stuff for the 125X and maybe even tweak it more for off-road riding. So that would be a really good bike to check. So overall, guys, I think they did a good step going towards the X. I think they can serve a huge part of this off-road community. These bikes will make you a better rider, will teach you how to ride with your clutch, will teach you how to keep momentum, and will put a big smile on your face. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Hopefully you enjoy my review. This is a really honest review. This is how much I love this bike, and this is how much fun I had on this bike. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and don't forget, whatever you do, stay motivated. See you guys later.